For the last several years since Hurricane Sandy. So today we are on Reed's Beach. We're actually on the southern end of Reed's Beach, which just across this little stream here is Cook's Beach. That's one of the beaches that we just restored this past spring in time for the horseshoe crab spawning. So right after Hurricane Sandy, you know, a lot of the beaches here on the bay were completely decimated, leaving very little habitat for spawning horseshoe crabs. So horseshoe crabs, they come up onto these beaches in May and June to lay eggs. And so we jumped to action and were able to restore a lot of these beaches right before that spawned right after Hurricane Sandy. Since then, we've restored just about 3 miles of beaches, so including Reed's Beach, which is where we are. So we do a lot of monitoring associated with these restoration projects. One of them is horseshoe crab tagging, just to get a better sense of how the horseshoe crabs are using the beaches that we're restoring. So today we're going to teach you how to tag a crab. We're going to go a little over the anatomy of horseshoe crabs, and then take a little exploratory walk around the shoreline.
I'll grab a crab. Why don't you talk about the crabs in the belly?
So I'm going to grab a crab and talk about. Okay, so if you want to just zoom in a little here. So this is a really great spawning set of horseshoe crabs that we have. This is a pretty typical site on the Delaware Bay this time of year. So you have one female in the middle, which is probably this one right here. She's in the middle. She's getting ready to bury down and lay eggs. Horseshoe crabs, they'll come up at every high tide during the day and at night to lay eggs. So it's a couple minutes before high tide, so she's going to bury down in there and lay eggs. The rest of the horseshoe crabs around here, these are all males. They're called satellite males. So as she's laying her eggs down in the sand, all of those crabs will help fertilize her eggs. So you'll start to see along the shoreline here that there's a couple different pockets of these crabs. Show a couple more over there.
Hey Quinn, I found a crab for you.
Oh, you did? Oh,
I
great.
did.
Thanks so
I
much.
did. Crab. Didn't know if you'd be able to get one.
Oh, yeah. Well, just do a quick little anatomy of the horseshoe crab. So a few weeks ago, I was out on Reed's Beach and went over the importance of horseshoe crabs and their anatomy. But in case you missed that video, I'll just do a little quick talk on that. So there are 3 primary sections to horseshoe crabs. There's the prosoma, which is this front part here, the epithosoma, which is this back part, and then the telson or tail. So this is a male horseshoe crab, and one of the reasons you can tell that is by the very first appendage here, which looks like a little mitt or a boxing glove or a claw. So the females, all of her appendages will look like this. Only the males have this special appendage. And that's actually to hook on to the very back of the female horseshoe crab. So you'll see over here, right, so we have the female right here, and then the male in the back is clasped onto her epithosoma with those special little clasps. You'll also notice a size difference in the crabs, right? So the females are are generally larger than the males. So we're going to continue going down the underside of the crabs here. And this little set of appendages, these are the feeding arms, or the chelicerae. So horseshoe crabs, they live on the bottom of the bay, and they eat things on the bottom of the bay, like small clams and mussels and worms. And they'll put the food into their mouth, which is right here where all the bristles are, so the mouth is below these bristles. And beneath the bristles, there's a lot of sand and stones. So what they'll do is they'll do like a little jig when they put the food in their mouth. They'll grind all of that up and digest it. These are ambulatory legs or walking legs. This back set here, these are called pusher legs. And that's actually how horseshoe crabs walk. So they propel themselves forward by pushing the sand with their pusher leg. The females will also use these legs to help bury herself down into the sand to lay eggs. So Shane over here, he has the connected horseshoe crabs. So horseshoe crabs, they don't mate, they don't breed, there's no any kind of activity other than spawning, right? So it's all external. So the eggs and the sperm come out separately. So he's just hanging on.
So the females won't come ashore without a male attached. And you can see this guy's hanging on. Quinn had mentioned the claspers that are on the male. You can see he's hanging on to the female. So this is the male, this is the female. So he's hanging on because he wants to spawn with this gal here. So that's how they come up together onto the shore.
So Shane has a great crab on the back here. We can talk about some of the other critters that like to live on horseshoe crabs. So these are slipper shells right here. And they like to be right near the book gills. So these are the book gills on the crabs. And that's actually how they breathe. So horseshoe crabs can stay out of water for a period of time as long as those gills stay damp. So as the water,
yeah, I was going to say, you're going to say whether they're book gills. Why would they be called book gills?
Oh, are you able to lift them up? I don't know.
Yes. Here, we'll see.
You have enough hands.
Yeah.
So they're called book gills. So this very first flap, that's called the operculum.
Here, we'll use your guy.
Oh, yeah, we'll use this one. So this very first flap here, this is called the operculum. It actually protects all of the other book gills here. But if you lift up the gills, all these little pages, right, make up a book. So that's why they call it a book gills. But you'll often find slipper shells right near the gills. So as the water is filtering over the gills, they'll take some of the nutrients out of the water. But they're really not doing any harm to the horseshoe crabs. We have some really great looking slipper shells on the female here. And some barnacles on this guy over here, some more slipper shells. But all of these animals, they just need a hard surface to live on. And what's so great about them living on horseshoe crabs is that they're pretty slow moving throughout the bay. So, you know, they can attach pretty easily. And this is as big as the horseshoe crab is going to get. So all of the horseshoe crabs that are on the bay right now, up on the beaches spawning, they're all adult crabs.
So Quinn, can these crabs hurt me?
No, they can't.
No.
Hurt you. Well, I mean, if you put your finger like over here where they,
right
yeah.
There. Don't
so
do
no, they don't.
do
No. So horseshoe crabs, they don't bite, they don't sting, they don't pinch.
So this is not poisonous.
They're not poisonous.
No,
they're not venomous.
They're
pretty harmless creatures. I mean, they do have like some sharp bits on them, which you can like poke yourself, or like you put your finger here as they're bending. That'll hurt, but they're not. They're not here to hurt you.
Because this guy's all over me.
They're super friendly. So they're all adult crabs, and right. So horseshoe crabs, you know, after they first hatch, they molt several times in the first year of their life.
What is molting?
Molting,
yeah. So what is that? That's a good idea.
Explain that, yeah. Yep. So when the horseshoe crab gets too big for their shell, the very front of the prosoma here will actually split open, and the crab will crawl out with a very soft shell underneath of them. They'll hunker down and you know, spend a couple days to harden up that shell by taking in water, puffing up the shell. And they do this a bunch of times. But, you know, as they come up on the beaches, they're done molting. So this is as big as the horseshoe crabs will ever get, which is why it's great for these creatures to grow on them. This home is not leaving them.
Right, which is why we can tag the crabs, because they don't get any
That's
larger.
a great point, yeah. So when we tag the crabs, the tag will stay on there because that's as big as the crab will ever get. They're done molting when they are up on the beach.
They've hit sexual maturity around 10 years of age.
Yeah, and they live to be until like
about 20
years old. You know, I want to point out some eyes real quick on the horseshoe crabs. The horseshoe crabs have 10 eyes, which is pretty wild. There's one set here. These are compound eyes, so they can see light, color.
Maybe this is easier.
That's much better.
This eye's a little easier to see.
There's another set of eyes in the front here.
Set of eyes. There's another set of rudimentary eyes there, light sensors.
Right.
Yep.
Where else are there eyes, Shane?
Oh, they also have eyes down here by the mouth bit, and they have some light sensors, sensitive cells around the tail and the underside of the shell. They got a bunch.
Yeah, they do have a bunch. So if you want to just look over at the beach real quick, so we have, you'll see a bunch of crabs. It's just about high tide now. So the high tide last night was much higher than it is right now. So you'll see some crabs kind of hunkered down on the beach, buried down. So they're just waiting out. They've buried themselves down into the sand where the sand is still wet. So that way their gills stay nice and damp. So, you know, Shane and I, we were walking on the beach earlier. There are a bunch of crabs flipped over on the beach like this. Very often you'll find crabs like this on the beach, right? So their gills have to stay damp in order for them to breathe. But if they're sitting like this in the hot sun all day, their gills will start to dry out. So if you do want to flip over the crab or rescue them, it's very important that you never pick them up by the tail or the telson. It's a very fragile part, and they actually use this to flip themselves over. So if you set them in the sand, he'll stick his telson down into the sand and right him back over. But if any part of that telson's missing, they're not going to be able to flip themselves back over. So the easiest way to pick up a horseshoe crab is either by the sides or by the front if you were rescuing them. Do you want to tag a horseshoe crab?
We should totally tag a horseshoe crab. I think that's why we came here today.
That is why we came here
We
today.
did. While you're getting it, Autumn, can we get you come over here? Massive. So the eggs are in mass, just floating around now, coming loose. These are dug up as the sands move, and as the crabs come in, all these little green dots, the little BB looking things, they're all horseshoe crab eggs. And this is what the bird's like. It's cheap, easy to get to, full of fat. Alright, let's go see Quinn. Oh, here you go. Tons of this. Look at it. There's tons of it. We lay billions of eggs here in the Delaware Bay every year. Quinn, are we ready to do this?
Oh, we're just about ready. I'm going to explain some things about how the tagging works. So we tag horseshoe crabs in cooperation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and their cooperative tagging program. So they help provide tags to us. This is what a tag looks like. So every crab that gets tagged will have a very unique number on here. If you ever do find a tagged crab out on the beach, you should go to the website there and report the number and you know, where you found the crab, and they'll send you a cool certificate and some more information about where the crab was originally tagged. These are not fancy tags, right? They're just little bits of plastic that go into the side of the animal. So we solely rely on people happening upon these tags on the beach. All right, so I'm gonna hand you the tag.
Oh, wonderful.
All right. So when we tag the crabs, we always tag on the back left portion of the crab, the left fin here, so their left side, and that's just to keep things consistent, really. So when you're looking for tags, you're always looking at the left side of the crab. So we have a pretty special drill bit that we use to tag the crab. So there's a stopper here. So something I didn't mention about horseshoe crabs is they have a double wall construction on their prosoma here. So the inside is hollow, which is where all their nerves are, where their blood is, where the females keep her eggs. So we want to make sure that when we're drilling a hole in the side of the crab here, that we only go through this first layer of shell and that we don't poke all the way through. So one of our members, they made some special drill bits for us first layer of the shell for us to poke a hole through. Their shell is made out of the same material as our fingernails, so it's really just like clipping your fingernails. What other kind of questions do you have?
So what do we drill for?
Poke a hole, yeah. So we're going to drill a hole and pop the tag in. So there's some data that we do need to record before we tag the crab. So we send all of this data to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service every season. Normally, in May and June, we would have a couple hundred volunteers out with us tagging crabs during the night high tides. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we had to cancel all of those events this year, and we'll be picking that back up next year. So some of the information that we record is the sex of the crab, so whether or not it's a male or a female, the crab has any injuries, and if so, we just write what kind of injuries they have, what beach we're on, and then what today's date is. All right.
Excellent.
So
So what do you think?
what kind of crab is it?
Well, this seems to be a male crab, and we know that because of that front claw. That's right, the flasper there, the boxing mitt, as I like to call it. So that is for sure. And in tagging, that's the only way we determine if it's a male or a female. You can, as you do surveys along the beach, you can kind of tell the difference between a male and a female based on sort of position in the group, general size relative to other crabs. So the males are always smaller. They have dimorphism, sexual dimorphism, which means the males are smaller than the females in this case. And so you can kind of tell if it's a boy or a girl just as you walk down the beach. But for tagging purposes, to make sure we don't mess up, because it's not a universal that all the crabs are the same size, we always check that front claw. And you'd be surprised how often it turns out we're like, oh, that was actually a girl, so, or something like that. So yeah. So what do you need to know from me?
Oh, I need to know what tag number you have.
We have tag number 449504.
So 503 on the sheet, we put down an M for male,
Yep.
and then I'm going to ask Shane to check for any injuries. So we want to make sure that all of the legs are there, right? All legs are accounted for.
I have 10 legs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we have all 10 legs.
All 10
Yep.
legs. How's the telson looking?
The telson looks pretty good.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to have any holes or breaks in the shell. We often will find horseshoe crabs that have big chunks missing or holes through their shell, and these things are built like tanks. They just keep chugging along anyway. But this guy's in real good shape. He's got a little bit of barnacles on him, a few slippers, nothing that we wouldn't expect to see on this crab.
Okay, so no injuries.
No injuries.
Good. All right. We are on Reed's Beach.
Perfect.
Right.
So no comments, all right? And do you want to take it from here, or I'll just stick the tag in.
Yeah, you put the tag in.
Excellent.
Yeah, sounds great.
Here's hoping we don't mess this up.
Stop.
You can do it.
So first-time volunteers, we usually like to have them, put the tag on to get an idea of where it's going to sit, right? So we want to make sure that this tag does not hang off the edge of the horseshoe crab back here, off the edge here, and we also want to make sure it's not too close to the eye, right? We want to make this tag as little of an impact on this horseshoe crab as possible, which is why this is a really great spot here.
You have a little extra space right here in the prosoma, where it's a little bit thicker, so the tag usually will fit in nicely right there. But if you put the hole too far back, aside from the tag not being applied properly, it's hard to get into the fibrous part of the shell back here. So we go a little bit forward to this sort of raised area, pop the tag.
So we're going to drill a very small hole.
You can do it, Quinn. I have faith in you. Go for it. That looks good. Oh, perfect. Oh, now, Quinn, what's going on here? What's that?
So because this is a hollow shell inside, we very often see some blood that comes out of the horseshoe crab. That's what's going on here.
So we will quickly put this tag in here and seal up that hole. We want to be very careful not to push this tag all the way through the back side. On the males, they can be a little bit skinny, and if you're not careful, you can push a tag pin all the way through a smaller male. This guy's a nice size, so we have no trouble getting him tagged at all. But there's our tagged crab.
Do you want to grab another one?
I think we should totally do that.
All right, yeah.
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 Yeah. Oh, hey, looks more eggs. Hey, Quinn, while I'm getting us a good crab, why don't you talk about this cool guy?
Whoa. So right, Shane was talking about, you know, how these horseshoe crabs can really withstand a lot of damage. So we have this feisty little male here, actually, who has this giant gash in the front of his persoma here. Really cool, good look at that. Right, but he's totally fine, right? I mean, he's still up here spawning at high tide like he's supposed to. You know, one of the reasons that these crabs are so resilient, other than them being built like a tank, right, is their blood, which is super cool.
We almost totally forgot the blood part.
I know.
Oh my gosh, you're the worst, Quinn. All right.
Yeah. So their blood, which is blue, which is that part is also cool, which is copper-based, unlike ours, which is iron-based. So their blood is blue, but it also coagulates or clumps anytime it comes in contact with bacteria or endotoxins. So that's really how they're able to withstand a lot of damage and prevent themselves from getting any infections.
That blood sounds very fancy, Quinn. Is there some medical application?
Oh, there sure is a medical application for this blood. So horseshoe crabs are blood. So this was discovered in the 60s, that this cool component where their blood clumps or coagulates anytime it comes in contact with bacteria. That was discovered in like the 60s. And so now they use horseshoe crab blood in the biomedical industry to develop something called limulus amoebocyte lysate, or LAL. And this test is used on all biomedical products like pacemakers, hip replacements, injectable vaccines, all kinds of cool stuff.
Anything going into a human body gets tested on the derivative.
Oh, and pets too.
Oh.
Right, yeah. And so just to make sure it's safe for us to use, they use horseshoe crab blood. There is a little bit of mortality associated with that. The numbers are, vary, vary, yeah. There are synthetic versions that are being developed right now. There was an article that came out 2 weeks ago where they do want to require some more testing on that synthetic before it is more widely used. Right? Oh, you bought a whole bunch to tag.
I didn't bring them all to tag. I brought this one for show and tell mostly, just because I thought he was covered with some fun stuff. I mean, he's covered in barnacles. And you can see that this guy's eyes are completely crusted over with barnacles. Here's his eye. It looks like he's gotten some knocked off of that eye. This eye you can't even see. But, this is a pretty common occurrence. I don't know if common, but we see a lot of barnacles. We find a lot. Some fully encrusted like this, or even more so. Not quite as often, but it's not completely uncommon to find it. Often we'll just kind of scrape off some of the barnacles around their eyes, but I don't have my little tool to do that right now. So, but he was just show and tell.
Yeah, he would be tricky to tag.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without taking that off. So we'd to put the crab tag in, we'd have to scrape all those barnacles off.
Right.
So and we can't do that.
So we're gonna put show and tell to the side.
Show and tell's going back. All right, we'll let them get back to the fun.
All right.
I will.
Hey, do you want to tag this one?
No, I don't. I'm gonna go see if I can find a female who hasn't buried herself in the sand yet. Is that an appropriate time to tag a horseshoe crab, the female horseshoe crab, before she's gone in the sand?
Oh, right, yes. So something to mention when we are out here tagging and picking up crabs, right? So we never want to disturb the crabs, right? Because their primary reason to be on the beach is not for us to tag and count them, but so that they can spawn. So when we are searching for crabs to tag, we never want to disturb any females that are buried because she's laying eggs. But if she's up and moving around, we can definitely grab her to tag. And sometimes they come with like a bonus crab on the back here.
I gotta tell you, that was way easier than I was expecting it to be. She was just kind of right there. I think they had finished up. You can see she's all foamy there, which is the telltale sign of romantic interludes on the Delaware Bay. So, we should tag the female.
Yeah, but do you want to tag this one?
I do, Quinn. Okay. I do. Thank you. You have a tag ready?
I do have a tag ready. So the tag number is 449514. So the first thing I need to know is this a male or a female?
Well, Quinn, let's check the legs. This is definitely a female because these two front legs are pinchers and they're not the boxing mitt. Huh?
Right, yeah. Right, so we don't want to go off that she's just big?
No, although when we put a hole in her side, we might actually see some eggs come out. It kind of depends. That happens sometimes, but we'll see.
So the next thing I need to know,
exciting.
Is she injured at all?
Well, her tail looks a little stubby. Her telson here, Quinn, looks a little stubby. I don't know if it had been broke in the past, but just worn to a point.
So maybe that's just something I'll put as a comment, that there's a short telson.
Sort of looks like a short telson, right? That does not look quite long enough to flip this gal over.
Yeah, but it doesn't really look broken either.
But she appears to have all of her legs. She's in good shape.
What about these cool scuff marks on the back here? What are those?
Oh, this dark brown, black discoloration on her shell. That is from where the boys' shell rubs on the girl's shell as they come ashore. So the females, especially the older they are and the more times they've spawned, the more tore up the back of their epithysoma will become. As well, you'll start to see nicks that appear in the back of the epithysoma where the males have been holding on for more than one spawn. So that's what we would look for.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Are we prepared to tag?
We have all the information we need about this crab.
So just go for it, huh?
Well,
this seems aggressive. I got to tell you, this drill seems very aggressive, Quinn. Is there a reason we got to use the drill? Is there a better option?
There are other options. Right.
This is probably the most convenient, though.
It's the most convenient, right?
Quickest process for us.
It's the quickest, right? Oh,
it's the recommended process.
I mean, we're tagging like 4,000 horseshoe crabs in a season.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to move through these pretty quickly. Yeah. There are some other tools that you can use. However, when we do have volunteers out, this seems to be one of the more safer tools that we can use. Yeah. For the crab. So that's why we like the drill.
Yeah. Generally, I like to hold the crabs on their side so they can't scurry away while I'm in the process of trying to tag them. And I always tell the volunteers that you have a good hold on this crab when your pointer finger is covering up their eye and your thumb is underneath, so that way they can't see the drill coming. Yeah, they don't. No, I'm kidding. They don't care about the drill. All right, where are we going? Right here, Quinn? Does that look good to you? That looks good, right? Yeah. Oh, hey, you broke my drill bit. Boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy.
Should have tightened that up a little bit.
So,
all right, so this is the hole, and you're good. No blood, nothing. We're good.
No blood,
Get that tag in there before things go sideways here. Let me tell you, Quinn, you're really good at this.
Oh, thanks. So are you. Yeah. Have you done this before?
Nah, once. Maybe twice. This is my first time here.
All right.
Excellent.
Tag female here. And so when we're done tagging, we always want to just make sure they go back to where we took them from. So
Which is pretty straightforward. Yeah.
She'll go back to the water.
You want to get, that's perfect. You want to do these? Should I get a couple more? Well, we say we do these and we'll call it quits. What are we on at the time?
2:30.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Right. We should probably be wrapping this up. So let's go ahead and we'll tag these guys real quick.
Oh, that one might be a little tricky to tag.
Oh, yeah.
So, shell. I mean, you could pop it off.
Yeah, so we're going to pop, so this is a slipper shell, much like here, but this one's attached right where I want to put a tag on this guy, so we're going to pop the slipper shell off, all right? And now we're going to grab our drill. I hope I tighten that chuck up again. All right, you ready with the tag there, Quinn?
I am. I have 449512.
There you go, there's that one.
All righty. Some more blood coming out there. Tag.
Perfect, nice. Sure, you should get paid.
I got
another male?
Yeah. 23 is a male.
You ready?
I'm ready. All right, looks good.
Very good. Animal's in nice shape. There have been studies done, Quinn, to check how these crabs react to the tagging process, any mortality. And a study done by Sacred Heart University showed that there is little to no impact from these tags being applied to the crabs.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
It is good to know because it seems very traumatic having a drill stuck against your side.
I don't think I'd like it.
No, but these guys don't mind. There you go.
All right.
Yep. It's a pretty straightforward process.
Great. So,
nicely done.
Yeah, great.
Excellent. So yeah, I think is that what we got?
We're going to wrap up. Thanks so much for joining us today on the southern end of Reed's Beach to tag some horseshoe crabs.
Yeah. We're going to be back out here on the 20th.
We will be back for nighttime horseshoe crab tagging. So this daytime horseshoe crab tagging is a little new for us. We usually come out at the night high tides with volunteers, but it's hard to see, so we wanted to give you a little primer during the day. We'll be back out on the 20th at 9 p.m. To do some cool nighttime tagging and see if we can find any other cool things on the beach at night.
So Quinn, I don't know, did you tell them that we're a member-based organization and we could use their support?
We are a member-based organization and could use your support. So if you're not familiar with the Littoral Society, check us out on littoralsociety.org. That's LITTORAL society.org.
Consider becoming a member.
Yeah, consider becoming a member. I mean, we do lots of cool, awesome things. You know, we restore beaches, we tag horseshoe crabs. You know, we run some great education programs out of Sandy Hook. Fish tagging.
The biggest citizen science program on the whole planet.
Yeah, we do some really awesome things.
So join us. Become a member.
Yeah.
Join us.
And yeah.
And we'll see you guys again on the 20th.
Have a great day. Take care.